Toes in Hiding brings us something from the Simpsons game Tapped Out. It's not my fault that God made me a man who chose to get gigantic so he could work from home. I'm gonna find a fat support group on the internet. No matter how crazy your ideas are, there are always 200 people online who agree with you. Toes in Hiding brings us another excerpt. Marge. Homie, I made you a salad. But Marge, I'm a growing boy. I put on over 50 pounds just today. I'm going to the place where they support and love the chronically obese. Krusty Burger. Brought to us by Love Dove Bunny. Can anyone recommend good pregnancy books that aren't fat-phobic? I just found out I'm pregnant after a long time of trying, so I bought that Mayo Clinic's pregnancy book. I'm not even 2 chapters in, and I'm having a hard time getting through it because of the fat-phobic stuff that is in it. I want to do what's best for my baby, but I don't want to read stuff that's triggering. I'm not even sure what I'm looking for exists. Grillard. How is a person who's traumatized by reading a book going to survive pregnancy and childbirth? Not to mention raising a child. Utam Yordiskat added, I often wonder how these people manage to get through life at all. But seriously, how dare a pregnancy book dare to give advice on avoiding things like not getting diabetes when you're pregnant? Reagan Chastain posted on Instagram, Them, I sell weight loss because my clients want it. Me, if your clients wanted to fly like Superman, would you sell that too? Is flying like Superman on the table? 'Cause yes please. Tararira brings us, amazing moment in Gen Z world remaking with my kid at the doctor's office. Nurse asks them to step on the scale and they say, no thanks, and blithely walk on to the examination room. You can do that? I marvel. Yeah, I saw it on TikTok. Weight and health is super sus anyway. This story's super sus. Mean Fat Girl went on a bit of a rant on Twitter. The obesity epidemic moral panic was specifically engineered by a pharmaceutical company to get FDA approval for the weight loss drug fen-phen, specifically the change in this period of the mid to late 1990s of having the BMI standards for obesity lowered. And the beginnings of the fake early mortality fat death statistics that we continue to see. Now, why would this company want to generate figures that claim to show both that all fat people were at risk for early death? And why would they want to change the BMI standard to show more people in those so-called bad fat categories? Because diet drugs have been known to cause extremely bad side effects in the past, causing FDA staff to be wary of approving fen-phen simply for aesthetic purposes. So the company made up and publicized the first round of fake fat death statistics, the 200K per year figure, which they admitted in their internal company memos they did not know where this original number even came from. The drug company needed that number, though, so they could prove that the problem they were treating is bad enough to warrant the risk to the patient. There are types of drugs that are approved even when the risks are known about. You may have seen some of these drugs referred to as having a black box warning, which signifies that medical studies indicate that the drug carries a significant risk of serious or even life-threatening effects. So the point of making these numbers was to convince the FDA that fen-phen was safe enough because all these fat people were dropping down dead in the streets from having the fat, except also at the same time, the company was hiding the deadly side effects of fen-phen, including damage to heart valves and fatal pulmonary hypertension, which the drug company deliberately classified incorrectly to the FDA, while also putting the obesity epidemic rhetoric on steroids. The designation of obesity as a disease was not done until 2013, and it was done for similar reasons, also known as money. Weight Watchers and bariatric surgeons really wanted to crack at Medicare and Medicaid funds, but they couldn't get it without the disease designation. The so-called obesity epidemic exists for a reason, and that reason was to fool the FDA for a specific drug that harmed so many people it resulted in the biggest class action lawsuit the U.S. has ever seen at that point. The obesity epidemic continues because it continues to pay out cash. That is what people are defending when they defend BMI and moral panic rhetoric around fatness. They're defending the industry capture of public health by the diet industry and the deaths it has caused. It's not a good look. If you want to keep following the grift and industry capture, the CDC made up fake obesity mortality statistics that they were forced to withdraw, and the World Health Organization made up fake obesity mortality statistics that they don't even tie back to a paper. The fake WHO numbers are cited as real statistics in probably thousands of papers on obesity research, and it's almost a complete slap in the face that the WHO didn't even bother to publish a paper on it, when it's extremely easy to publish fake mortality stats papers. The diet industry doesn't even have to furnish even fake proof anymore. They can just say whatever and use the WHO as their PR reps, because y'all just swallow it down without even questioning it. It's almost impossible to overstate the degree to which the levels of fat phobia we are experiencing have been manufactured by the diet industry. Reverend of Soft replied, "A nefarious plot by Big Exercise." The Cynic Bro replied, "You mean by the drug companies that had to pay millions in settlements?" Visp added, "No, see, the problem with this thread is it acts like all of obesity science comes down to some drug company, but doctors always recommended exercise and eating in moderation. This doesn't make anyone money, so the whole narrative falls apart. I'll tell you a nefarious conspiracy. People come together to make up a conspiracy theory about how all the evidence linking obesity with health risks is faked, because they take it as a personal attack. They crow about how, 'I haven't died yet,' like how a longtime smoker might insist he'll never get lung cancer. Me saying this will get called a moral panic, even though I didn't say anywhere that being fat is immoral, because reframing criticism as evil lies is an effective discrediting tactic for people who don't want to be told the obvious. Obviously, animal bodies, including our own, evolved to handle a certain range of weight. We can accept that when we're not emotionally invested, but I've never seen anyone say that it's fine to overfeed a cat. Side note, sadly, I have. Because the cat can't take it personally and claim there's a conspiracy. Yelling Hatriarch also replied, "Crazy how BMI category cutoffs were moved in 1998 just to get FDA approval for fen, a drug which was taken off the market in 1997. And that's just the really obvious factually wrong thing here. I don't know how to explain to this person that they lowered the BMI category for overweight people, because people in the 25 to 28 range were already dying early. This plot they're accusing Big Pharma of, changing BMI categories to show that overweight people die early, flat out would not work unless those people were already at risk of dying earlier. Granted, they're also claiming that they made up the whole death statistic, which seems very much fling stuff everywhere and see what sticks, but they're using vague language, which makes it difficult to fact-check them. Who am I to say if it's on purpose? So I have no idea what's going on with, quote, the study by, quote, the company in, quote, this period of mid to late 1990s. But this person has already proven that they are an unreliable source. So I feel comfortable walking away from this discussion assuming that they are wrong about that too. But even if they're not, I have recent and more reliable sources that confirm that obesity raises the risk of death. From The Shadow of a Fool. My policy for the past couple of years is to go into the doctor and state my symptoms, then tell the doctor, "Stop. I want your diagnosis and treatment options for someone weighing 135 pounds. And when they try to argue and immediately start with weight, I firmly reiterate that they are going to diagnose me as if I were 135 pounds. Eventually, most grudgingly, will think about it and answer me. I'll allow them to triumphantly go on to dismiss their previous diagnosis and pin everything on my weight. Then I point out that I have been the same weight for 15 years, and these symptoms are sudden and new. My weight is no factor in that. Give me the tests and treatment you first mentioned." Kissian replied, "Yes, doctor, well, I do have cough and experience shortness of breath, but no, you can't take into account the fact that I smoke 2 packs a day. Please diagnose me like you would someone who has never had a cigarette in his life." From Puking Fabulous. Telling a stigmatized group that the way to end the discrimination they face is to change something fundamental about themselves, rather than to change society and put an end to bigotry, is highly problematic. Many of us would never accept that logic when it comes to any other human trait like race, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. So why should we accept it when it comes down to body size? Superbad replied, "You can't change those things they listed. Oh, you're fat and you've been told to work out? That sucks. Bet it beats electroshock therapy, though. or coming out to your parents and being disowned, or not being able to use your legs, like, for God's sake. Brought to us by monkeys. Reminder to women and female identifying individuals who may have parts struggling with how your body changed during the pandemic. The idea that you are supposed to stay small and unchanged is internalized misogyny that objectifies and infantilizes women. Bellies are a life source. They are second brains. They are rich resources holding information for and about the rest of us. Love your belly. Love your body. Because there's already so much in the world working against it. Let's stop feeding the oppressive patriarchal idea that bodies are supposed to be small and unchanged. Let's feed ourselves instead. Heart. Superbutter replied, as a man, is the patriarchy also to blame for my own desire not to be fat? Where can I file my complaints? Who's the manager here? Brought to us by Wholly Redacted. Calorie deficits don't work because 1. Your body adapts to the deficit by using less calories. 2. Your body draws you toward high-calorie foods until you finally give in. And 3. Our bodies were not designed for losing weight. They were designed for survival. Red Laughing Man replied, you can actually save a lot of money with this trick. If you give up eating, your body adjusts to 0 calories per day and you no longer have to waste money on food. /S. Side note, wouldn't you have to worry about getting fat from this technique? Because of starvation mode? Another from Wholly Redacted. Taste hunger is valid. That is wanting dessert after dinner even though you aren't physically hungry. Just a reminder that thinking about food is a sign of hunger. It's really okay if you're still eating past fullness, often on your intuitive eating journey. What to do when you want to eat emotionally? Eat emotionally. Metro Dodo replied, I need to know who convinced people that this is what intuitive eating is. Owl Machine. Nestle, probably. Brought to us by Lever. Weight stigma is weight limits on water sport activities, skydiving, rock climbing, and so many other things. Nihalanthrope replied, imagine being too fat for your parachute, but wanting to go anyway to fight fat phobia. Weight stigma is every picture on the walls being of thin people. A witch betwixt. Every picture on the walls? Where? Usually when I see pictures of people on the walls, it's somebody's family on the walls in their home. Is my grandma just supposed to add some randos to her gallery for your feelings? A witch betwixt brings us. Things we think influence our weight. Diet and exercise. Things that actually influence our weight. Food habits and movement patterns. Diet is food habits and exercise is movement patterns? Hello? Dr. Angela Karras posted on Instagram, real talk, eating the diet book is healthier than reading it. And, once again, we have another thin person advising not to diet, or even learn information about nutrition. Brought to us by Recess I Am Tired. It's a conversation. If I remember right, only about 1/4 of the adult population has what is considered a normal weight. Someone else. Yeah, according to BMI, which doesn't take into account body composition and hasn't been updated in decades. The average American male is 5'9". The upper limit of the healthy range for someone of that weight is 160 pounds. Most guys who lift regularly are overweight according to BMI. Kissian replied, major threats of our era? Climate change. Rapid spread of dangerous viruses. Rising tensions between global powers. And, of course, the great American bodybuilding epidemic. Brought to us by Lunette Soleil. If diabetes was caused by being fat, then there would be no thin diabetics. If weight loss cured diabetes, then liposuction ought to be a recommended treatment. Dieting doesn't cure diabetes. Weight loss isn't the answer. New Name replied, if lung cancer was caused by smoking, no non-smokers would ever... Oh, wait. Also, liposuction doesn't target visceral fat, which is metabolically active, hence dangerous kind of fat. It is a treatment for something like lipedema, but not obesity. Even worse, removing your fat would give your body less places to store energy. That's probably going to make your diabetes worse. Brought to us by Black Spider Legs. Damn, sugar lights up the same part of the brain as cocaine does, so it's obviously addictive. You know what else lights up the reward center of the brain? Stepping on the scale and seeing that number go down. You don't need a sugar detox. You need a detox from dieting. It's Taco O'Clocko replied. Yep, and people can have an addiction to losing weight, and that should be addressed. Just like a sugar addiction. I'm not sure how they think that rebuttal implies anything else. The Crow Flies brings us. What's the alternative to dieting, though? Staying fat? Yeah, imagine the horror. Imagine just living your life. Imagine not trying so hard to conform. Imagine just eating what makes you feel happy. Why is looking like me the worst possible thing that could happen to you? Autotelica replied, I had a mastectomy last year. I only have one boob. I don't wear a prosthesis, and I have no interest in getting restoration surgery. I fully accept my one boob self. Most women who find themselves in my predicament don't feel the same way, and they choose to get surgery or wear bra inserts. I could mope around and whine about how mean they are for not wanting to look like me. But how stupid would that be? I don't whine about all the people who straighten their hair. Mine is naturally curly. Or let it grow long. Mine is short. Because that also would be stupid. People have every right to make themselves look however they want to look, without worrying about the butthurt of rando strangers. Brought to us by Elmir 2000. Even if everyone ate the exact same thing and did the same physical activity, there would still be a wide variety of body shapes and sizes. I highly doubt if anyone ate 2,000 calories a day, we would have anyone weighing in at 500 pounds. You don't know that with any degree of certainty. Weight set point is highly genetic. I recommend referring to the weight science research, including the reference mentioned above, to learn more. Hearts. Banana Empanada replied, It's not my fault for speeding down this hill, officer. My car weighs more than other people's cars. There are differences between vehicles, therefore no one can ever be in control of their speed. Elmir 2000 brings us, Trigger warning, Reagan. As a fat person, choosing not to pursue weight loss is an act of self-care. Reagan adds, The diet industry owes their exponential growth and mind-blowing business, $72 billion last year, to their perpetuation of fat phobia within our culture, including and especially within healthcare. Fat people spend our lives being told to succumb to this industry, even though intentional weight loss fails about 95% of the time. 100-foot Siphonophore replied, I buy less excess food and bike outside for free. You don't need to give the diet industry a cent. On the other hand, I cannot imagine how much it's costing them to eat whatever they want, whenever and however much. Their grocery bills must be astronomical. Dire Misfortune brings us. I came across this TikTok and it goes over a study about healthy individuals being put on a 1,500 calorie diet for a few weeks. They had long-term damage. I looked up the study and it's legit. I have learned in therapy that 1,200 and 1,500 calorie diets do more damage, and now this confirms it. I want people to keep this in mind when looking for safe ways to reduce their weight. Health at every size is an important resource. Captain Trips replied, They had long-term damage. Sure, because they were healthy to start with, and their TDEE was 3,000 or something. If you keep a grown man's physical output considerable, while cutting his calories down to half of what they should be, and completely deficient of protein, you'll be pretty messed up mentally after that. However, there have been no reports of long-term damage in those men, though. Presumably they were all fine after they went back to their normal diet, or we'd have heard about it. If you are overweight, you won't suffer these effects. You aren't actually getting by on 1,500 calories a day. Your body is utilizing stored body fat the way it should, especially if you're a female on the shorter side, whose TDEE isn't far above 1,500 calories anyway. Somebody asks that creator, how should I lose weight then if not to reduce calorie intake? Sad face. The creator replies, I would recommend instead of shooting for a smaller size, to become comfortable with your body's natural state. Smaller isn't always better for you. Posted by Sullen Avalanche. What about building healthy habits summer? Losing weight should not be the goal, but the consequence of loving your body and treating it right. Somebody replied, thank you for your insight. And somebody else, eat yourself into the sun. Someone else, the obsession with being thin has also another ugly side. Casualties nobody ever considers. Those of us who are underweight get pooped on for even saying so, and good luck finding any support to try to get back to a healthy weight. We aren't allowed to talk about it because we're lucky to be underweight, and because we can generally hide it with clothing and therefore fit the shelf presentation format for females. Nobody gives a poop about helping us. Meanwhile, we're over here all alone, literally trying not to die because our margin of error for weight at this end of the spectrum is far smaller, before we have to worry about the very real threat of death. But, hey, as long as we look the part of the average passerby, that's all that matters, right? No, we are not lucky to be underweight and unhealthy, and constantly in fear of the very real consequences of being underweight. And yes, we have body image issues too. Being underweight is not pretty. And no, just eat is not a valid prescription. For the love of God, can we please just all shift our focus to getting healthy? Maybe then everyone can be on the same darn side for once, and support each other, because then suddenly we'd all have the same goal. And the only goal that should have mattered in the first place. Healthy is highly individualized. These magic numbers for size and scale have got to go. Even the BMI scale is messed up. I dream of a day when I no longer feel like I need to be screaming this from rooftops. OMG, you also shut it. The misogyny is internalized. Someone else. You just proved my point. And wanting all women to be supporting each other is the furthest thing from misogyny. I don't want you to support other women, because you've already decided to support fragile men. You can yeet yourself and have him follow you. Also, you can get treatment for that. Big women existing healthily are constantly under actual attack. The only fragile person here is you. She and him are talking about being healthy. Obviously, you take being healthy as losing weight. Being triggered by that shows your own issues, not others. No, he had no place here. She's consigning with him and his BS. You can also go somewhere. From Rikero Masatu. I grew up in South Africa, not the best country, but not the worst when it comes to, well, everything. It's got some of the most beautiful architecture, and it's got some of the biggest squalors. It's a land of contradiction. As a result, I grew up seeing both sides of human nutrition. My teachers were overweight, bordering on obese, but my fellow students sometimes didn't have lunch because their families didn't have any food. Even worse, I saw children my age without a family and without food, begging near the squalor's camp, called plakkerskamp in Afrikaans. Then there was the culture preaching fat acceptance. When I first read about it, I was absolutely horrified. Clean broom ads. Every time I watch My 600-Pound Life, the first thing that comes to my mind is, how in the world can they afford it? Like, for real. Consuming that amount of food is expensive, and those people, well, most of them are bedridden, so I doubt they actually work. Aside from one girl who appears to be in a, I can't say it, cam show. But is their family rich enough to be able to enable that expensive lifestyle for them? Lifthala added, like most addicts, they're deeply in debt. I Like Chicken brings us. Why is the burden of proof on non-diet HAES providers to demonstrate diets don't work? Show us they do, and do so without harm. Power-bonded Icarus replied, do so without harm. Translation. Even if you lose weight like a sensible human being, we will claim that you developed an eating disorder, harmed your metabolism, and that you will probably gain it all back after a month. Snoogoats brings us. Friendly reminder that posting workout videos is inherently fatphobic and feeds into the idea that thinness, often disguised as fitness, is acquired through hard work. All of that is a lie. Health, again disguised as fitness, is a political issue. Health is a community issue. Individualizing health unrealistically demands individuals to compensate for the lack of state intervention to ensure the health of the community, and therefore helps the state get away with not having more welfare policies to protect the health of everyone. Working out to be healthy, fit can be your choice, but using it as a substitute for structural issues of community health is not just problematic, it's also apolitical. Skip your workout and read about anti-fatness that is institutionalized in our neoliberal economy. Blutarg replied, what should the government do to get people healthier? Ban soft drinks? Make it easier to see a doctor? Tax fast food? Those are still individual choice-based. Stranded in the Desert added, it's a safe bet that if the government banned soft drinks and taxed fast food, they would scream bloody murder about government oppression, and health would suddenly become an individual choice. Nameless Glory brings us. Fat people do notice when thin people like us despite our bodies, as opposed to just liking us. We do notice when you condescendingly encourage us to do things correctly. We notice when you want to take the stars. Itzcoatl replied, I fail to see how taking the stairs is a personal attack against your fat friends. New name. Movement not joyful enough, I guess. Bimukio brings us. Can't stop thinking about food all the time? Try eating more. Bone Samagra. If you eat satiating food, then you don't crave the junk and feel full longer. Caught in the Blackout brings us. Other neurodivergents keep forgetting to eat. Me, who is fat from impulsively eating things. Is it possible to learn this power? Somebody replied to that meme. I don't eat enough, and that's why I can't lose weight. It's insane, but my calorie deficit is so bad that my body holds on to any and all food I eat. Then I binge without meaning to and get all my calories at once, and it's just BS. Renaissance replied, I think their sentence is out of order. It should be, I don't eat enough, then I binge, and that's why I can't lose weight. Gazikika posted, What's a good response when a friend sends unsolicited before and after pictures of themselves? I want to say, glad you are proud of your new body, but good luck keeping it off. Thanks, now I'm slightly triggered by my own body not being where I'd like it to be. Or, you probably said a lot of harmful diet culture things around your kids while getting this new body. Or, don't get rid of your bigger clothes because statistically speaking you'll need them again. Well, I know I'm being mean and obviously haven't completely recovered from diet culture myself. Seriously though, how do I respond? The Golden Pinecone replied, There is nothing wrong with being happy for people. That's like saying congrats on giving your boss oral pleasure to someone who got a promotion. It's childish and petty. On the other hand, if they did say these things, the person would know what kind of friend they truly are and drop them. This is from Instagram. Hey Sharon Maxwell posted this. The scale is an object that shows your relationship to Earth's gravity. It is not a unit of measure of success, ability, determination, or worth. But in the next picture, she shows somebody destroying a scale. Choose one. Is the scale something that hurts your feelings? Or is it something that just measures your weight? If it just measures your weight, there's no reason to destroy it. Posted by Fluffy Emotion. Every dietitian that I see says that it's bad to eat junk food, but is acceptable in moderation. But what's moderation? For example, if I ate ice cream 2 days in a row, is that bad? Moderation means the amount of food or the regularity of what you're eating. It's really confusing. I want to eat intuitively, but I can't eliminate the mindset of moderation and portion size. Intuitive eating says, eat what feels good. But if what feels good is junk food, isn't that going to harm my body? Sorry, it's very confusing. Someone replies, there is no junk food. All food has nutritional value. All. Get the moderation out of your head. You don't have to moderate anything. That is still dieting or controlling your intake. Eat what you want, when you want, and the amount you want. Your body will get used to being fed again. I hate Melvin replies, soda has no nutritional value. It has calories. If your only option for calories at a specific time is soda, and you really need the calories right now, go for it, I guess. But it still has no nutritional value. I bleepin' hate soda. Got razzed by the in-laws for not drinking it one too many times, I guess. Guess what, mother-in-law? Your son's teeth are in about 1,000 times better shape now, that he's 52, than yours were when you were. You're welcome. Superb ad brings us, I will never see celebs getting weight loss surgeries anything other than fat phobia and elitism. Why is it so hard for you to accept your body? Fat people can be fat phobic. Those surgeries fail more often than not, and wasting money to appease fat phobic people is gross. Black Cat replied, fat activists. This is my body. I don't have to lose my weight. My body, my choice. Another fat person gets weight loss surgery. Fat activist. How dare you do what you want with your own body? Fat phobia. From Dorkita. Having some body image issues today since we went camping. Because of my weight, I was overexerting myself just to do the basics to camp. I am so heavy right now I can't tie my shoes and can barely get them on. Also, can barely wipe. Can barely get up on my own in the tent. It was so hard to pack and unpack. Back pain. And because my stomach is so big, I could barely get out of the chair fast enough. I did, but it was still in the way. I had asthmatic symptoms just walking to the bathroom and almost hyperventilated by the time I got to the restrooms from the short walk. How do you not diet, but need to eat in a way that helps to shed for medical reasons? Safety, hygiene, and to keep up with my son? Someone replies, insanely, shoes, get shoes that don't tie. Endurance, packing, unpacking, walking to the restroom can improve with exercise. Also flexibility, wiping for hygiene, can improve with yoga and other flexibility-based programs. I'm a personal trainer, so I am biased, but I strongly feel that those issues are unrelated to weight and more related to movement. Someone else. I agree with what Blank said above. Most of the symptoms you're describing can be related to many other things besides weight, but often our cultural conditioning often leads us to believe weight is the only issue. Maybe consider that what you're experiencing is your body's desire to move more regularly, or sleep more, or look at how stress can be impacting you, or maybe look into foods you're eating and seeing if they are nourishing your body and giving it energy. So many things that could be impacting you that are not related to weight. I hope that is helpful to consider. Kissian replied, this post is a great reminder that any random clown can be a personal trainer without having an ounce of actual knowledge about fitness and or health. Elpheba posted, Meow, I'm obese. I work out several times a week and eat 1,700 calories a day or less. Sometimes things are actually genetic. I have absolutely no health issues. In order for me to obtain what most would consider healthy, I'd have to eat less than 900 calories a day for a year. Calandra replied, even if that is their maintenance, and there is no unconscious eating going on, which I do suspect, to be honest, there would be no need for them to go down to 900, and it would almost definitely be counterproductive to do so. My maintenance is around 1,700 too, and it's much better for me to cut on a mild deficit of maybe 300 calories a day, try to increase my exercise in slow increments, and concentrate on boosting my NEAT. A huge deficit, especially where it leaves you at risk from nutrient deficiency, is way more likely to be unsustainable and lead to a rebound. From Lancelot. 1,200 calories is the daily requirement of a toddler and a number created by diet culture. This is a silly video, but for a very serious topic. Many diet weight loss programs encourage 1,200 calories or around that, and it is so damaging. These are the requirements of a large dog or toddler, not a grown adult. Less does not mean better. Educate and fuel yourself and be kind to your body. Do not be afraid to eat more. Double that number and it can change your life. Now eating 2,500 calories a day and hitting personal bests all day 'cause food is fuel. Jedi in Mind Only replied, did you know that lions eat 9,000 calories a day? Yet, diet culture tells us humans should only eat 2,000 calories a day. If you want to be strong and fast, like a lion, don't limit yourself. Just eat 9,000 calories a day and be as strong as a lion. And now, DeChonkers, from Lilith Marlene. It's a gray stripy cat. Zeta has been dechunking since March 2020. Check out the difference, October 2018 versus today. This girl is 13 years old, and the weight loss has made her look and play like a youngster again. She's lost a little over 1.5 kilograms. Most of her bulk is loose skin now. The Turpinator brings us some pictures of their dog. It's a kind of orange dog with a black back. In the first picture, he's 80 pounds. In the second picture, 65. Their dog's name is Marshall. Caitlin brings us a picture of their dog, Sasha. They started at 101 pounds. We got her at 98, and at her surgery on Friday, cysts removed and dead infected tooth removal, she weighed 89 pounds. She is 14 years old. Ambiguous Gizmo gives us some pictures of their gray and black cat. Dechunkification progress, 17.5 pounds to about 14 pounds in about a year. She's doing amazing. No brings us a picture of their orange cat. Frustrated, I hope this post is okay. My sweet boy is gaining weight even though he's on a diet. Scheduled feeds, measured portions. He begs constantly and I feel bad for him. From Time to Be a Potato. It's a picture of a white cat with some black spots on its back. Still very proud of my boy losing weight. 18.5 pounds to 14.5 pounds. M brings us a picture of a black cat that kind of looks like it's wearing a tuxedo because of a white patch on its chest. 1 year progress, 18.5 pounds to 14.3 pounds. Still a way to go, but we're getting there. Dan Owens brings us some pictures of Buddy, a big black dog. In the first picture, he looks like he might be Cerberus, only missing 2 heads. In the second picture, he looks younger, like a puppy. Buddy's epic weight loss. From Yeeter Doge. It's a brown dog. In the first picture, he looks kind of big, and in the second picture, he looks really lean. Adoption date is 6 months in. Fix Everything in Post brings us a picture of their black cat. I suspect Fix Everything in Post might be a witch based on how this cat looks. The cat begins a little bit big and ends rather sleek looking. Before and after chunk. Sequin Weekend brings us a picture of their orange stripy cat. 1 month, 0.3 kilograms down. Rusty has a long way to go, but we'll get there. A special thanks to Hannah McNally and Daniel Cora for supporting me in helping to bring you this video. Alright, video's over. If you liked what you heard, then please click like and subscribe. If you're feeling super generous, consider becoming a member. It comes with perks like getting the videos early. Even if you don't, I appreciate you for coming to watch my videos. Have a shoe pastry good day.